Welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're taking you on a journey into your relationship with money. Using insights from the updated Your Money or Your Life, it's a classic for a reason. It helps people find, not just financial stability, but also more purpose in their lives.
Yeah, what's really fascinating is how the updated version really tackles, today's financial landscape. I mean, think about it. The first edition came out before the internet was even like such a huge part of our lives, right? And now it's like it's a nonstop stream of ads and temptations to spend.
It's true. Yeah, it feels like a whole new level of challenge. But, if these principles worked back then, maybe they're even more crucial now, right? So let's unpack this enough concept. It's not about being cheap, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Imagine like a curve, right? So at one end, you don't have enough, so you're always striving. And at the other end, you're overwhelmed with stuff, burdened by it. So enough is that peak, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got what truly satisfies you, not what society dictates.
So how do we even figure out what enough looks like for us personally? Because it's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing or buying.
Yeah, the book really pushes you to define it on your terms.
Yeah.
It's a process, not like a magic number or anything. But think of it this way. Imagine you didn't have to work for money. How would your spending change? What would still matter to you?
That's a great question to think about. And it leads right into another big idea from the book, money as life energy. It's a bit of a mind bender. But the book argues that every dollar you spend represents hours of your life that you traded to earn it.
Yeah, they call it your real hourly wage. So, for example, let's say you make $25 an hour. Sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But then you factor in, commuting costs, work clothes, maybe even like the takeout you get because you're too tired to cook after work, right? Suddenly that $25 an hour is a lot less.
Yeah, it's like we're trading chunks of our lives without even realizing it. I'm curious, did the book have any shocking stats about how people are actually handling their money?
Oh yeah, there were a few. Here's one that stuck with me. Back in 2005, the personal savings rate in the U.S. actually went negative, meaning, people were spending more than they earned. They were racking up debt just to keep up.
Wow. That's alarming. It makes you wonder what drives this cycle of overspending, Is it all about keeping up with the Joneses? Or is there something deeper going on?
It's a mix, right? I mean, there's definitely societal pressure, right? Constant bombardment of ads telling us we need things to be happy. But the book actually dives deeper than that. It's also about our emotional relationship with money, often tied to things we haven't even really examined.
So it's not just about budgeting. It's about understanding ourselves better. Is that where this creative frugality the book talks about comes in?
Exactly. It's not about deprivation, but about, maximizing the joy you get, not just the amount of stuff. Think bartering, DIY skills, even wearing things out before replacing them.
There's a story in the book that really exemplifies this couple, Amy and Jim Dacey's, who lived on a modest income, but saved enough to buy a farmhouse and raise a family. They were clearly intentional with their money.
Yeah, and they challenge this idea that you need, a massive salary to achieve your dreams. It's more about aligning your spending with what truly matters to you.
Yeah.
Finding creative solutions, rather than just saying, "Oh, I can't afford that."
Okay, so we've got enough. Money as life energy, creative frugality. But work itself plays a huge role too, right? The book challenges this idea that it's, just about earning a paycheck.
Yeah, what's fascinating is how they suggest, separating work from wages. So your job, is to get paid, sure, but it doesn't have to define your entire life, right? So maybe there's more fulfilling work within your current role, or a side hustle that lets you, explore your passions.
I love that idea. It's so empowering. It's like instead of being stuck on a treadmill, you can choose how to use your time and energy. But for people aiming for financial independence, that's where building capital comes in, right?
Yeah, it's a key concept. Think of capital as money working for you.
Yeah.
Generating income. So you're not just, trading hours for dollars. So bonds, index funds, even community lending. The book gets into all sorts of options.
So instead of just hoping my savings account, grows a tiny bit each year, I'm actively making my money work harder. And the book emphasizes aligning those investments with your, risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's not about, chasing the riskiest, highest return thing out there. It actually ties back to enough, having enough invested that it supports the life you want.
Yeah.
without, unnecessary gambling.
Mm.
And it leads to that crossover point that we'll dive into later.
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, we need to address something that I think a lot of people struggle with: debt. Your money or your life doesn't shy away from this at all, and the stats are pretty sobering.
Yeah, it's easy to feel like debt is just,
Yeah.
a normal part of life. But they tune out that. The average U.S. household debt is over $8,000.
Hmm.
And that's not even including mortgages. So that's a huge weight on people's shoulders.
Yeah, and it's not just the numbers, right? It's the stress, the anxiety. It takes away from enjoying life. Did the book have any stories about people who successfully tackled their debt?
Oh, yeah, there were several. Ivy U's story is particularly powerful. Yeah, she grew up poor. She vowed to never worry about money. But she ended up, overspending. And the program really helped her realize that she was actually using spending to coach with past trauma.
That's a perfect example of how our money habits are often tied to deeper things. Once she faced those underlying issues, she was able to take control and become debt free. It's inspiring.
It shows that, financial freedom isn't just about, wealth. It's about a healthy relationship with money where it's a tool, not something that's controlling you.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork. The core ideas are starting to click. Now let's get practical, right? The 9 steps to financial independence. Are you ready to dive into this?
Absolutely. These steps offer a roadmap, but remember, it's a personalized journey, right? So what resonates with you will be different from, someone else.
Okay. So step 1 is tracking your life energy. It's about facing the facts, figuring out where your money's actually going. Sounds simple, but I bet it's more powerful than people expect.
It's like making your life energy visible, right? So instead of just, vague ideas about, how you're spending, you record every cent,
Yeah.
income bills, even that pack of gum. And you do it not to judge yourself, but to really, understand your patterns.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be eye-opening. You might think you know where your money goes, but seeing it all laid out like that's got to spark some realizations. What's step 2?
Step 2 is what you have to show for it. So calculating your net worth. So this means listing all your assets, so savings, investments, even possessions. Then you subtract your liabilities, right? So debts, loans, the whole picture.
So it's like a financial snapshot showing you where you stand right now.
Precisely. And the book stresses being, accurate and honest,
Yeah.
no fudging the numbers.
Yeah.
This is about owning your financial reality.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, so you can build from there.
Okay, so tracked spending, calculated net worth. Step 3 sounds like it brings those two together.
Yeah. Step 3 is where you ask, how much is enough?
Mm.
And this is where you really dig deep into your values. They have these three powerful questions to ask about every expense category.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the first question?
The first question is, did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to the life energy money I spent?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, did I enjoy this? It's, was that enjoyment worth the hours of my life that I traded for it?
Oh, that's a whole new level of thinking about spending. It's not about guilt tripping yourself, but being aware of the trade-off you're making with your time.
Exactly. It shines a light on those areas where you're spending maybe out of habit, pressure, or without much real return and joy. And the second question gets even deeper.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with question number 2.
All right. Question number 2 is this expenditure in alignment with my values and life purpose? So this is where you have to really, examine what matters most to you, what kind of life you're building. And if your spending reflects that.
This would be a great conversation starter for couples, I think, to get on the same page about, what their shared values are and how money fits into that. What's the final question?
Okay, the final question is, how might this expenditure change if I didn't have to work for money?
Mm-hmm.
So this highlights, those costs
Mm-hmm.
that are tied to our jobs, so commuting, work clothes, maybe even expensive childcare because of, long hours.
It forces you to imagine a life where work isn't the center and what truly matters in that scenario. Okay, so 3 questions applied to every spending category. That's a lot to process.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But the book actually, they provide a visual tool for this, which is step 4. making life energy visible with the wall chart.
Okay, a visual aid, I'm all about that. What is this wall chart exactly?
So imagine like a big sheet of graph paper, and you're plotting your monthly income and expenses from your tracking using, different colors for each, and then you put it up somewhere. Like somewhere you'll see it daily.
So it's like a constantly evolving picture of your finances, showing the gap between what you earn and spend. I can see how that would be motivating to literally see your progress.
Yeah, the book calls it the picture of your progress toward full financial independence. And it really drives home the point that you're in control, So as your fulfillment increases and ideally your expenses decrease,
Yeah.
That's a powerful visual.
Okay, we're 4 steps in. It feels like we've built a solid foundation. Now things are about to get more action-oriented, right?
Exactly. We've gathered information, we've examined our beliefs. Now we're ready to put it all into practice and start, seeing some real change.
Okay. Step 5 is about valuing your life energy, minimizing spending, which sounds like it goes beyond just, cutting back.
Yeah, it's about mindfulness. They talk about this Spanish word aprovechar, which means to use wisely. So frugality is about, maximizing your joy to stuff ratio, getting the most out of each purchase.
I love that. It's not about deprivation. It's about being smart and intentional. The book emphasizes, avoiding shopping trips, which seems simple, but I bet it makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, I mean, think about how much we buy on impulse just because we're browsing, right? They also tell the story of this woman who saved a ton of money on a heating repair by researching the problem herself and choosing, the company best suited for it.
Being informed and resourceful, it's empowering to, handle things that we might usually, delegate or overpay for out of fear. But minimizing spending is only one side of the equation, right?
Right. So step 6 tackles the other side, valuing your life energy, maximizing income. And they remind us, the point of paid employment is to get paid. Yeah. So make sure you're getting a fair return for your time.
So this means, being aware of your worth, asking for raises, maybe even, exploring different careers that might offer more earning potential. But the book doesn't advocate for just, endlessly working harder and harder.
No, not at all. There's a great story about Steve W., a carpenter, who loved to write. And he started bidding higher, assuming he'd get less work.
Yeah.
Right. But people were willing to pay for his quality. So he ended up working less, earning more, and having time to write.
That's a fantastic example of, aligning your work with your values, even in unexpected ways. It shows that maximizing income isn't just about, grinding. It's about finding a sustainable balance.
Right.
Okay, so minimizing spending, maximizing income. This all leads to step 7, which is where things get exciting. Investing for financial independence.
Yeah, this is about making our money work for U.S., right?
Right, but the book distinguishes between, saving and building capital. What's the key difference there?
So savings are for, short-term goals or emergencies. Capital is actively working to generate income, like bonds or index funds. It's about your money growing, so you don't have to trade more hours for it.
That's a powerful concept that the book seems to advocate for, becoming knowledgeable about investing rather than just, blindly following someone's advice.
Yeah, they give examples like U.S. Treasury bonds, which are, considered very safe. But they also acknowledge that, in times of high inflation, you might need to take on a bit more risk for growth. So it's about, informed decisions.
Okay. We've got the investing foundation down. Before we move on to the last 2 steps, I want to circle back to something that's resonated throughout, this whole conversation, this idea of aligning finances with values. This is what makes this book so unique.
Absolutely. It's not just about managing money. It's about, creating a life of meaning.
Yeah.
So they encourage, defining your values, your life purpose, and making sure you're spending, you're earning, your whole financial picture reflects that.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that, financial independence isn't just about, having a big bank account. It's about having the freedom to live a life that truly aligns with your deepest aspirations.
And that's a goal worth striving for.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're digging deeper into your money or your life. And this time, we're all about this exciting world of financial independence, what it really means and how it can, transform your life.
Yeah, in part one we covered, those foundational ideas, things like defining enough, understanding money as life energy,
Right.
and aligning your finances with your values,
Yeah.
right? And we also explore the first 7 steps of their 9-step program.
Right, right. So now in part 2, we're we're going beyond the basics, right? We're gonna look at what life can actually look like after you reach that crossover point where your passive income covers your expenses.
Yeah, we'll be sharing some real stories from people who've achieved this. People who are living proof.
Yeah.
That this isn't just some pipe dream. It's something achievable.
Okay, so before we get to those inspiring stories, I think it's important to address a common misconception about financial independence. A lot of people assume it's only for the wealthy, right? Like you need a 6-figure salary to even have a chance.
Yeah, and that's a myth that the book tackles head on. They share stories of people from all walks of life, who've reached financial independence.
Yeah.
Teachers, nurses, even a garbage collector. It's not about how much you earn,
Yeah.
but how you manage what you have.
So it's more about mindset and habits than just a big paycheck. I'm curious. Did the authors themselves achieve financial independence? Their stories would be pretty compelling.
Yeah, well, Joe Dominguez, one of the authors, actually reached financial independence at age 31 while he was working on Wall Street. And he didn't do it by, winning the lottery or anything like that. He lived simply, saved diligently, and invested wisely.
That's pretty impressive, especially considering he was in the heart of the financial world, surrounded by people who are focused on making as much money as possible. It shows you that you can choose a different path, even in that environment.
Exactly. His story highlights the power of mindfulness and long-term thinking. It debunks the myth that you have to wait until you're old to enjoy freedom and flexibility.
Speaking of freedom, one of the things that I find most appealing about financial independence is this idea of having more time and energy to focus on what truly matters. When you're not constantly worried about money, you can pursue your passions.
Absolutely. Your money or your life really connects financial independence with living a more meaningful life. When those financial worries fade,
Yeah.
you have space to dedicate yourself to, things that light you up, whether it's, creative projects, volunteer work,
Right.
or just, spending quality time with loved ones.
It's not just about retiring early and sitting on a beach, although that's an option for some, but it's about having the freedom to choose how you spend your time and energy.
Right. And the other author, Vicki
Yeah.
is a great example of this. She left a successful theater career to explore alternative ways of living, and eventually teamed up with Joe Dominguez to share his financial wisdom with the world.
It's proof that financial independence can open up unexpected possibilities, right? It's about aligning your life with what truly matters to you, not just what society dictates.
Exactly.
Now, I know some people imagine reaching the crossover point and suddenly living a life of luxury filled with extravagant vacations and fancy things. But that's not really what the book promotes, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's not about retiring from life. It's about, retiring from having to work for money. So people who achieve financial independence often find themselves drawn to, more fulfilling activities.
Yeah.
They might, start their own businesses,
Right.
dedicate time to volunteering, finally write that novel they've always dreamed of. The key is, they have the freedom to choose.
Right. It's not about reaching some, final destination and then stopping. It's about an ongoing journey of growth where you continue to reassess your values and explore new possibilities. It's about using your freedom to craft a life that truly reflects, who you are and what you want to contribute to the world.
And that's a great point. That being said, though, the book doesn't shy away from the fact that life after financial independence isn't always easy. There can be, challenges like unexpected health issues or even just, adjusting to a new way of life.
Yeah, that's an important point. It's not a magic solution to all of life's problems, but I imagine that financial independence provides a certain level of of resilience, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. When you're not tied to a paycheck,
Yeah.
and you've built a solid financial foundation, you have more flexibility to navigate those challenges. You have options and resources
Yeah.
that you might not have had before.
Okay, so we've talked about, what financial independence isn't and what it could be, but I think it's time to bring this to life with some real stories from people who have actually achieved this, who are, living proof that this is possible.
Yeah. So one story from the updated edition that really stuck with me
Yeah.
is about this couple, Jacqueline Blix and David Heitmiller. They followed the 9 steps, achieved financial independence. And then they decided to write a book
Yeah.
about their
Became
experience.
a book about achieving financial independence, and then what did they do with the money from the book? Did they buy a yacht, a private island?
Not quite. They actually donated 95% of their book advance to a nonprofit organization focused on financial literacy and sustainable living. It's called the New Roadmap Foundation.
That's amazing. They could have easily kept all that money for themselves, but they chose to give back. That's true financial freedom right there. The ability to use your resources to make a positive impact.
Yeah, and even when they faced financial challenges later on, they never regretted their decision to donate. Their story really highlights the power of aligning your actions with your values, even when things get tough.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that financial independence isn't just about personal gain. It's about having the capacity to create a better world, right? It's about using your resources for good.
Yeah.
The book also shares the story of Alan Seid and Trisha King, another couple who embraced these principles. Early on, Alan was determined to reach financial independence by 30 and achieved it by working as a translator and interpreter.
And his wife Trisha also reached her financial independence goals by working as a massage therapist. So they didn't have super high paying jobs or anything. They just made conscious choices with their money.
Right, exactly. Together they purchased land and created a rural learning and living center focused on sustainability. They even started a mediation and training company and rented out buildings on their property for income.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. They turned their financial freedom into a way to build community and live in alignment with their values. It's a great example of how financial independence can be a springboard for creating something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, and their story also highlights the importance of having shared goals and visions with your partner or family when it comes to financial matters. It can make the journey more meaningful and enjoyable.
Okay, so we've heard some inspiring stories.
Yeah.
About what's possible with financial independence, but let's be real for a second, right? It's not all sunshine and roses. There have to be challenges along the way.
Oh, of course. One challenge that many people face is adjusting to a new sense of identity. When your work no longer defines you, it can be hard to figure out who you are and what gives you purpose.
Yeah, it's like we're so used to answering the question, what do you do? With our job titles.
Right.
And when that's no longer the central focus, it can be a real identity shift.
Yeah, and the book encourages us to embrace this as a positive opportunity. It's a chance to reconnect with those things that you might have put on hold while you were focusing on your career.
Right. It's about rediscovering your passions, your talents, and creating a life that's truly authentic to you. Another potential challenge is dealing with social pressure when you're no longer participating in the traditional work spend cycle. Some people might not understand your choices.
Yeah, that's just...
you might get judgment or even envy from friends and family who are still stuck in that cycle. They might see your choices as irresponsible or even selfish.
Yeah, and the book encourages us to be compassionate with those who don't understand, but also to stay true to ourselves. It's about finding your tribe, connecting with people who support your journey and share your values. Surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals can make a huge difference.
Okay, so we've acknowledged the challenges.
Yeah.
What about practical advice for navigating the world of financial independence? What are some tangible things that people can do to, prepare themselves?
So one of the most important things is to have a clear understanding of your expenses, even after you've, reached financial independence. It's easy to let spending creep up if you're not, paying attention.
So even though you're, not reliant on a paycheck anymore, you still need to budget and track your spending.
Absolutely. It's about staying mindful. Yeah, and making sure your spending aligns with your values and your long-term goals. The book also recommends, building a safety net, so an emergency fund for unexpected expenses.
Right. That makes sense. Life throws, curveballs. No matter how well you plan, having a financial cushion can make a huge difference in navigating those unexpected events.
Right. And finally, they encourage continued learning. The financial world is constantly changing with new, investment opportunities and regulations emerging all the time.
So it's not like you learn everything you need to know and then you're set for life. It's an ongoing process of staying informed and adapting to those changes.
Exactly. They suggest, reading books, attending workshops, or even, consulting with a financial advisor to stay on top of things and make sure your money is working effectively for you.
Okay, so as we wrap up, part 2 of our deep dive into your money or your life, I want to emphasize that, financial independence isn't just a financial goal, right? It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's about creating a life that's filled with, meaning, purpose, and freedom. It's about, aligning your finances with your values and having the capacity to make a positive impact.
And it's achievable for, anyone who's willing to put in the effort. Challenge their beliefs about money and embrace a new way of living. Welcome back to the deep dive. It's time for the final part of our exploration of your money or your life. We've covered a lot of ground, from those core concepts to, inspiring stories of people living, financially independent lives.
Yeah, and now in part 3, we're kind of shifting gears a bit. We're gonna zoom out and look at the bigger picture. How this book's message really challenges some deeply ingrained societal beliefs and what it might mean for, creating a more sustainable and fulfilling future.
One thing that really struck me as we were, going through the book is how it challenges our culture's obsession with constant economic growth. It feels like we're always striving for more, more stuff, more money, more everything.
Yeah, and they call out that, this more is always better mindset can lead to overconsumption and a real disconnect from what truly matters. And it's not just about, personal well-being either. It's about the planet's resources.
Yeah.
Being strained by our endless desire for more.
It makes you wonder, like, is this constant growth actually sustainable in the long run? The book seems to argue that it's time for a shift in our thinking, a shift towards something they call sufficiency.
Yeah, and sufficiency is about, recognizing that we often already have enough to meet our needs, right? So it's about cultivating gratitude for what we have instead of constantly, chasing after more. It's a real shift in perspective from scarcity to abundance.
I love that. It's like taking a step back and saying, hey, I actually have a lot to be thankful for right now. It's a powerful antidote to, the constant messaging we get from advertising and social media that tells us we always need more to be happy.
Yeah, and it's not just about stuff. It's about our time and energy too.
Yeah.
If we're constantly striving for more, we might miss out on appreciating those simple joys of life, the things that truly bring fulfillment.
That's so true. It's like we're on a treadmill, always running, but never really getting anywhere. The book also makes this strong connection between, our personal finances and the health of the planet, right? It's not just about, saving money. It's about consuming less and making choices that are good for the environment.
Yeah, they argue that our overconsumption is having a real impact on the planet, and it's time to take responsibility for our choices. This could mean buying less stuff, choose eco-friendly products, or even simplifying our lifestyles to reduce our overall consumption.
It's about recognizing that our individual choices have a a ripple effect. Even small changes can add up and contribute to a more sustainable future.
Okay, so we've talked about, some of the big picture ideas. What about practical steps? What are some tangible things
Let's
that
see.
that people can do to start integrating these principles
Yeah.
into their own lives?
Well, one of the most powerful things you can do is something we talked about earlier, track your spending and
Mm.
calculate your real hourly wage. This simple exercise can really shift your perspective on how you're trading your life energy for money.
Yeah, it's amazing how just
Hmm.
seeing those numbers can make you more mindful of
Yeah.
you're spending. You start asking yourself, is this purchase really worth the hours I work to earn this money? Exactly. And once
Yeah.
you have that awareness, you can start you know making more conscious choices. Maybe you'll find ways to save money, or maybe you'll explore different income streams
Yeah.
that feel more aligned with your values.
Right. The book also encourages us to define what enough means to us personally, right? It's
Yeah.
it's not about, comparing ourselves to others or trying to keep up with some arbitrary
Yeah,
standard.
it's about, finding that sweet spot where
Right.
you feel, content and secure without being weighed down by excess. It's
Yeah.
about having enough to support a life that's, meaningful and fulfilling to you.
And that might look, different for everyone. For some people, it might mean, simplifying their lifestyle. Well, for others, it might mean, pursuing a passion project that doesn't
Yeah,
a lot of money, but brings immense joy.
right, exactly. It's about, you know, creating a life that's true to yourself,
Yeah.
not to some,
Yeah.
external definition of success or happiness.
Another practice the book encourages is to regularly reflect on, your values and your life purpose. It's so easy to, get caught up in the day-to-day and lose sight of what truly matters.
Yeah, taking time for reflection can help you,
Yeah.
stay on track. So ask
Mhm.
yourself, are my actions, including my financial decisions, in alignment with what I truly value? Am I living a life that feels purposeful?
Yeah, it's about making sure that, your choices, both big and small, reflect who you are and what you
Yeah.
want to contribute to the world. And it's not something you do, once and then forget about. It's an ongoing process of, checking in with yourself
Hmm.
and making adjustments along the way.
Right. And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Yeah.
One of the things your money or your life really emphasizes is the power of community.
Right. They talk about, connecting with like-minded individuals who can, support your journey. It could be, joining a financial independence group, attending workshops,
Oh,
or
wow.
even just, having open conversations with friends and family who are, interested in these ideas.
Yeah, having a network of support can make a huge difference. It can provide
Mm.
encouragement, accountability, and even,
Yeah.
new perspectives that you might not have considered on your own.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into your money or your life. It's been quite a journey.
It has. It has. We've explored so much from the practical steps of managing your money to
Yeah.
the deeper philosophical implications of,
Yeah.
creating a more mindful and fulfilling life.
And I think what resonates most with me is that this book is about so much more than just, personal finance. It's a guide to living a more intentional life, one that's, aligned with your values and your aspiration.
Right. It's about, reclaiming your time, your energy, and your power to create the life you truly desire. And it's a message that's, just as relevant today as it was when the book was first published.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a question. What resonated most with you during this deep dive? What steps will you take to, redefine your relationship with money and create a life that's rich with meaning, purpose, and financial well-being?
Yeah, we encourage you to explore the book further.
Hmm.
Connect with others who are on a similar path, and discover how its timeless wisdom can help you. Create a life that truly matters. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.